retirement. They're gonna replace
Call the
that.
meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Marcy, your roll call.
Here, Brian,
Here.
Justin,
Here.
John,
Here.
Jeff.
Here. Get a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. Brian, aye. Justin, aye.
John, I.
Jeff, aye. Buddy online, citizen comment.
Just Justin.
Here, we'll close citizen comments. Get a motion or questions for the consent agenda.
We decided rather than having you each read every single one of those resolutions for the TIF, that we just put all those in the consent agenda.
I think we did that last year as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Brian, aye.
Justin, aye.
John, I.
Jeff, aye.
We're on a record pace here.
Park and Rec. Monthly report.
Have any questions on anything?
Still waiting on the floor test.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Mike tomorrow. I just got back from a mini vacation, so I haven't reached out, but I'll reach out to see where we're at. But yes,
It's interesting that we have some roof leaks, but we haven't had a lot of snow sitting
So
up there yet, so
that's what I was gonna say is that's our biggest thing. I think they've been here at this point multiple times trying to figure out what's going on. When they left today, they thought they found the issue, but they thought they found the issue every other time too. So hopefully be cautiously optimistic.
How long is that warranty for?
I believe it's 10 years. Our last one was 10 years. I guess I never got paperwork for this one, but
This is the new roof, right? So
this is the new roof, correct?
I think it's not uncommon to have a few early on.
It's a flat roof.
When you're, yeah.
You're gonna
Get
have problems
burned
with it
in.
for the rest of its life.
Spiced.
No, the only other thing is just, I don't know if you guys look at the Excel document on there or not, but just kind of comparing last November to this November, everything is higher, which was anticipated in terms of usage, day passes, number of memberships, everything is higher. So, it fits with how busy we've been, but it's a good thing. Yep.
It was brought up one of our meetings, and I want to clarify. So
Yep.
if I have my membership set up as auto draft,
Yep.
does the rates increase to my bill, monthly
No.
bill?
They don't.
How do we fix that?
I mean, I think we have to send out letters letting everyone know. When we talked about it, the reason we didn't do it is I believe a lot of cancellations will come with that. So we can do it. It's just something that
We can't,
I don't
So you
believe
think that I don't know what the rate's been increasing.
5%. Every other year, 5% every other year.
yeah.
You think that that's going to cause a lot of cancellations?
So not because of the rate increase, because of people,
Oh, rest I don't really go, still using.
correct. There's a lot that aren't using the center. Is
We can't set it
what I'm
up such that when they sign off in an ACH, they sign off on. annual
We
increases,
can-
Pass it
I
through,
was gonna say, and I can look into that. I know we talked about it
at least for
briefly in
going
terms of.
forward. I
yeah.
think just have them approve that
That this is
annual
the thing.
increases apply and go through.
Cause yeah, I mean, it's set that we increase rates every other year. I mean, that's something that we've been doing the last 6, 8 years.
If I've been a member for 8 years, I'm paying 8-year ago pricing.
I don't wanna be carrying you.
Oh, you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that, yes, but that's.
Okay.
Right now, they're not currently.
We have a lot of people that do it by ACH versus just pay annually
You even think
27.
out of
So there you
the
go,
850.
85.
That's because I do the ACHs.
885.
This month it's like 127. It's usually right around there.
1/8.
It's about $4,000 to $5,000
12%.
depending on.
It's not huge exposure.
Let's say $5,100 this month. Right? The ACH?
Yeah, I was just working on it today and it was 127 for 51.97. So
That's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
That we don't want to lose, but at the same hand.
You don't wanna do it.
and some of those are going to be newer people that have just set up. So
Correct.
I couldn't say out of those how many we'd have to change, but
Well, maybe your board can look into just
Consider.
changing the ACH process to have
So-
people sign off
Maybe
on
people going forward.
biannual.
You sign it, you're
Sign
saying
it.
that you.
If we change the rates, they automatically pass through.
Just like with your utility bill, you know,
Yeah, we,
goes up, or your your even
Like
pay
the
bill
verbiage.
goes up every, whatever.
I have thought of that.
Anything else for
Thank you,
Stacy?
Stacy.
Chief?
We can also throw a spreadsheet together pretty quickly to say, here's what these people are paying, here's what they would be paying to see if it, how much money is that,
It's $100 or.
right? Do that easy enough. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, you guys have my report if you guys don't have any questions. The only thing I want to bring up is December 17th, this Thursday, is the Santa Miss Claus cookies, and then we're doing the parade. We do have a couple floats, I guess, that people have contacted me on and allowed. So it's going to be a little longer, but it's only like going to be like 3 or 4 floats besides the police cars and the fire trucks. So, yeah, it'll be a great event.
fun.
Right, it's gonna be, I don't know if you saw the route or whatever, but we try to hit every subdivision that's in city limits as much as we can, just because like the trucks have to be able to get through certain, we can't obviously go on dead ends and stuff like that, so. We'll see you out there.
Have you been getting or seeing a lot of speeding on Adrena?
On Adrena. So you guys have that report here.
It's good.
Down here. We have not gotten any like reports of heavy speeding on Adrena. You see the radar speed sign numbers down here on the list. They are at, so we have that trailer down there in Adrena, it's 21.9. So,
Thought about flipping it?
uh,
Have you thought about flipping it?
the other side, yeah, it's, my main concern at first was it's going into residential, not going into, not saying no man's land out there, but it's just going past the apartments. I wanted to make sure we had control of the speed going in, because that's what the complaints initially were going into residential area. That's what I was trying to control at first. I can flip it, absolutely.
Cox Springs is really looking good.
It is, yeah. You know what, I'm actually happy with all the numbers, to be honest.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything after like a week about the people complaining about stop signs.
No, they
I
like
haven't
them.
heard anything on that either. No, it's kind of like you said, it's norm now. Yep.
Anything else for Chief? Dean?
Sure. Any questions on anything on pertaining to the report? John, just to follow up, you asked me a couple of meetings ago, and I apologize, I didn't get back to you about the lighting down on Adrena.
Yes.
So there is a difference, a separation difference between the new part of Adrena and the existing light of 87 feet wider. So I mean, that could be something that we could look into possibly if we continue a trail, maybe back around the pond or something like that, add some lighting in that vicinity there. But yes, there is,
Just looks different.
yeah, the new lighting is 300-foot separation between the two of them, between the existing pole on Leslie and the new pole on Adrena is 387 feet. So yes. There is a little bit of a damper.
Do we have a standard?
I don't think we have any standards to my knowledge.
Old WX one.
SUDAS, should we use SUDAS as our standard?
Yes.
SUDAS does have a standard. I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head,
It was
but
for when I was on the planning. All right, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Other than that, we're just kind of picking away at the meters yet. Getting some installs, getting some good responses, so, yeah.
good deal. Nothing.
He did not submit a report.
Report, Russ left me nothing, so. Development,
Nothing going on there. This slow time of year.
all right, brings us to the administration, the
Bergen KDV audit.
That's me.
Yeah.
Hi,
Do you just want me to share my screen? Like, is that easiest, or do they have
Yeah, that's
copies
fine.
of the
Otherwise, I have
PowerPoint?
it pulled up, but if you want to share your screen, that'd be fine as well.
Okay, it looks like I had to request permission to. Oh. This is usually the toughest part, is to get the technology figured out. Okay.
Can you put some pictures on your wall?
So I'm in my
Big bachelor.
right, something like that. I'm trying to share my little. Okay, hopefully you can see that.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So my name's Justin. I'm the senior manager on the audit for the city. This is our second year at the city, so we really enjoy working with the staff and appreciate the opportunity. If any of you have any questions while I go through my little presentation, feel free to stop and interrupt, and yeah, we can hit them whenever. I have such a passion for city finance that if nobody stops me, I'll just kind of go through the whole thing. So the first couple of slides that I wanted to hit talk about the different reports that we issue. So the first one being the independent auditor's report. In my opinion, it's the most important communication that we issue. It's essentially what you pay us for, is to come in, test, examine, issue an opinion on your financial statements. So we do give an unmodified opinion, which is the best we're allowed to give as your auditors. It provides assurance that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. A couple other reports that we have to issue is the government auditing standards report. And so because you are a city in Iowa, we have to look a little bit closer at compliance with laws, contracts, grant agreements, and internal controls. We do have one material weakness in internal control. It's the exact same finding at the exact same level that you got from us last year and probably many years before that, related to lack of segregation of accounting duties. And so it's not that we're recommending any changes. We are, just making you aware that as the council for a smaller city, you do have a heightened responsibility to be those double checks, because with your current staffing configuration, that they may not be happening just because of the amount of people you have in office. The next one is the Iowa Code of Compliance. So the state auditor gives us a series of checklists to complete, looking for compliance with state statutes. And so we did have one finding related to that test work, related to your budget to actual. So in Iowa, you're not only required to be under budget for expenditures across the whole city, but in each individual function. So if you think of public safety, public works, general government, each one of those is required to be under budget as well. And so there were two of those functional areas that exceeded the budgeted amounts.
was that a legal violation? We approved them. We
Right.
approved expenditures. as they
Right,
went
and we
along.
do them in the budget, so
Right,
therefore it's not,
These went over right at the end. So one of them was a TIF payment that we didn't certify because we didn't have it certified from the year before.
oh,
So we didn't have it budget, and it went over in June. And at that point, it's too late to
so
amend
please,
anything.
yeah, okay. What was the other functional area?
The other one, do you remember what the other one was? I know one of them was that. I think it might have been a debt
Was it
payment.
debt service? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a debt service payment. It was like 1,000 or 2,000 over. I just used the amortization schedule, but whatever it came in at, the
It
payment
was
was
slightly different.
slightly more.
Okay, all right, sorry.
Yeah, the overages, I don't think were more than a few $1,000s. It wasn't significant but something that we're required to report.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next couple slides are going to look at the general fund. So receipts exceeded disbursements by about 103,000. After transfers in and out, your total cash balance did decrease in the general fund by 322,000, down to about 1.6 million. So your fund balance goal is about 25% of annual budgeted revenue, and at the end of this year, you were at about 51%. Looking specifically at receipts, total receipts increased about 189,000, total of 2.5 million. Taxes and assessments increased related to an increase in the tax levy. Intergovernmental revenue decreased related to those ARPA dollars being one-time funds in 2022 and 2023. And then the general fund also received $230,000 of transfers from other funds. On the disbursement disbursement side, total disbursements of about 2.4 million. There were a few culture and recreation disbursements increased 189,000 related to some increased capital purchases. There were a decrease in community economic development disbursements related to fewer legal fees. But otherwise pretty standard year over year, nothing too crazy. Next, we look at your enterprise funds. So this is your water, sewer, and solid waste funds. So these funds operate a little bit differently than your other ones. These are expected to be able to maintain themselves. In theory, your charges for service should be able to cover the operations, any debt payments, any capital projects, all of that good stuff. So we start with looking at operating income. So this is purely what it takes to run the department versus what it brings in. So it doesn't include capital project costs, it doesn't include debt service, and it doesn't include transfers in and out from other funds. So these numbers, have a tendency to look pretty good because it doesn't include any of those big items. So your operating incomes were pretty consistent year over year. Water fund had an operating income of 255,000. Sewer fund had an operating income of just under 500,000. And then solid waste had a slight operating loss of about 13,000. So you almost have to take that slide with this slide together because, like I said, the operating income doesn't include some pretty big items, but this cash position does, right? So it can kind of give you a feel for if the amount you're bringing in is sufficient to sustain operations as well as sustain debt and capital payments. So outside of the operating income that we touched on earlier, the water fund had capital projects costs of 140,000, and then cash balances increased 37,000 to this ending balance of 624,000. Pretty consistent year over year, or in the last 5 years. The sewer fund had non-operating receipts of 380,000, debt service costs of 400,000, capital project costs of 47,000, and then there was a bond issuance of about 800,000 based on state revolving loan funds. So cash balance overall in this fund has been, it looks like it's been decreasing pretty significantly, which it has, but a lot of the large amounts up here were unspent bond proceeds where you would issue debt in 1 year and then spend it subsequently. And then on the solid waste side, this fund has always been break even, or makes a little bit of money, loses a little bit of money. It was in a small deficit last year. There was a transfer into that fund this year to help clean that up a little bit and support it. Ending cash balance of about 18,000. And that's me. So if there's ever anything that I can answer for any of you, government accounting, city accounting is wild, right? So if there's ever anything I can do to help make your lives easier or explain something, I'm definitely here as a resource for you all. But I'll take any questions if you have them.
Dustin, are there any recommendations that you have for us as council people to supplement? We talked about this a little bit last year, but to supplement the finding on the internal controls, should we be looking at different things than we're looking at? We're looking at fund totals on a monthly basis. And we're looking at disbursements, and somebody checks through the bills and see.
Yeah, no, those are all good controls. It's really looking at your operations and trying to see, okay, where are the holes? Where is there really only one person in charge of an entire process? Whether it's receipting or it sounds like you're kind of on the disbursement side, looking at bank statements and bank recs, and it is tough as a smaller city to try to get those double checks in house. So yeah, any support that you can provide is great.
We're definitely doing better than we were last year. I can't say that, but there are we as staff, right?
I think I kind of always am like, give me examples because I can't fix it if I don't know.
Right.
If I think they would be happiest if one person opened the mail, another person posted it,
Somebody
another
else
person
took it
added
to
the
the
check,
bank,
another
somebody
person
took-
verified it, and two
Yeah.
other people
He's
took it to
shaking
the
his head,
bank,
yes.
so that's just not physically possible in some instances, but I mean, part of it is as well that I know that I have the authority to do multiple things. But I don't necessarily do all of those things. So I can, I have ability to basically do all of it.
And to get into all parts of the system and
But we do separate, like I do all the posting of certain things, Kathy posts certain things, I do the bank reconciliation, but then when I'm done with it, and that looks over all the bank statements. When I post interest, when I post property tax deposits, when I pay.
Check deposits.
the large
I take
big
it to the
sheet.
bank.
Yep, and then I'll have her sign off on that she reviewed it, and same with the bank reconciliation, so. If we had more specifics like this, specifically this is what you need to do differently, that would be helpful, but I feel like. One person posts the payments, another person verifies it,
Yeah.
and then a third person takes the deposit, so we always keep those pieces separate.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Marcy, you hit on it. A lot of it just comes down to access. Even if you're not doing a lot of those things, just your ability to be in the system and do those. Cities that don't receive this finding at this severity, they'll have a top finance person that literally has zero access to change anything. They only have read-only access. And it just doesn't make sense in a lot of municipalities purely because you need access to to get things to make things happen.
Right, like we have access to do the transactions, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're the only one that does it.
Yeah.
We have access to, but if someone's gone and I have to be the only person here
Yeah.
doing it,
it's a good practice to have multiple people do different
Yeah.
things on alternating months or that sort of
Yep,
deal
and
too, right? 'Cause different
we're
eyes
working
get
on that.
different
That's
things.
something we had done before, but now that Kathy is really getting her groove, like she needs to learn how to do payroll as well as me. And I know that she knows how from her previous experience, so
Backup.
that she's the backup and she's the back, a lot of those things I know that she knows how to do. It's just learning the way that we do them, even though we use the same software, our processes are a little bit different. And
And we have good notes. I mean, they've
Yeah.
done
And we
fantastic
changed a
job.
lot of things and we're trying to go more, paper friendly and using less paper and putting more things, out there in the S drive and that can go in and look at them from anywhere as well.
And I can
But
digitally sign them now, so it's.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think we are doing a lot of the double checks and like Dustin said, a lot of it is just, we all have access to be able to do a
Everybody has
journal
access to
entry.
everything, yeah.
But when we do the journal entry, we have someone else sign off on it or initial that it was done or authorized.
Very good.
And I don't think there's probably any city in Iowa other than maybe like large cities that don't have that finding.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. I would say 100% of the cities your size receive that finding from us. But yeah, some of the larger cities, they have an accounting team of 5, 6, 7 people where their top person really can get away with never having to be in the general ledger, never having to post anything, and they purely review. But yeah, that access one is the one that hangs up a lot of cities because it just doesn't make sense in most cases for your one of your top finance people to not be able to do anything in the system.
But I welcome any of you that want to come in and work on bank rec or post.
Take a deposit to the bank.
Anything, come on in.
I think the exposure is more about computer access to all the functions. So much is less cash and other things anymore. It's easier to track all the transaction kind of stuff better than going into the system and being able to alter something. So making sure the system's
Come in and
matching
cherry
our
pick
books.
journal entries and then I pull those
That's the
journal
way to do
entries
it.
out for them to look at them to make
And
sure
maybe
that.
having a second person sign off on journal entries, which it sounds like you're doing. So I don't know what else you do.
So look for that finding again next year.
Yeah.
We're lucky we have 4 people.
Some people will be a big
Some cities
city.
have literally one person who does
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dustin.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a great night, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
happy holidays.
Yep.
Happy holidays.
He was in his closet. He was.
Resolution approving plat of survey for West Haven Ridge number 2.
We talked about this at the work session. This is just a courtesy review for anything that's outside the corporate boundaries within 2 miles.
Planning and zoning approved it.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of the plat of survey of West Haven Ridge number 2 in Dubuque County. Brian, I.
Justin, I.
Jeff, I.
Resolution authorizing budgetary transfers for fiscal year ending in June 30th, 25.
This is just the budgeted transfers that we do this time of year.
Things like debt service, just transferring.
See it twice a year.
Yes.
This is transfers right from fund to fund. Yeah. I'll make a motion to authorize budgetary transfers for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025, as presented.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I. Jeff, I.
Carries. Resolution approving and authorizing the application through the T-Mobile Hometown Grant Program for the Kelly Oaks Park Development Group.
This is basically asking for your permission to move forward with that grant application, and it's a match of 50,000. And I believe Tricia's gonna have everything ready once we get things signed tonight, send it out tomorrow.
We have to match 50,000, but we're pledging 286 in the resolution.
Yes,
So that's in total.
right.
This is just what we have to set with the grant, so they know that the
It's a grant
city's in the
requirement.
book. Yeah. We're board part, yeah.
Get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution approving authorization application. Town grants program for Kelly Oaks.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
I always try to make those titles really long, so you have to read them.
Yeah. It takes longer to read the title than it does to vote.
2024-14 ordinance amending Title 9 General Regulations, Chapter 91 Animals, second reading.
Any feedback?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance Title 9 General Regulations, Chapter 91.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Any,
I'll make a motion to waive the third reading.
I'll second. Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Okay.
Motion to adapt, not.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Carries.
We were not expecting that, okay?
I didn't print those, so I'll get
It's
those
all
for you later.
I think we were just wanting to make sure the public was aware of what we had.
Had a chance.
And I kind of
It's been
looked
out
over
there
to
for a long
chief, and
time.
chief hasn't heard any feedback.
Been out there in the two work sessions and a couple of readings.
I think we talked about it for a while.
So-
before that. 2024-15 ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 157 subdivision regulations, minimum requirements.
I think my question last time was if the developers had received.
Right, and I want to wait until if we get the second reading, moving
Oh.
forward, I don't want this to die
Oh, I
at
see.
this point, so I mean.
Haven't,
you
they
can
haven't
either-
received a first draft or whatever. Well, we have a gap in time, so they have time to evaluate, give us
I
some
can go ahead and
feedback.
send it out after you approve the second reading tonight and get their feedback if they have any. And then we can have it for the January 14th for the third reading and the adoption.
Is that our first meeting in January? I don't want to make our holidays too. I want to make sure we give them enough time to respond, and I also want to keep things moving, but when's our second meeting in this January? Maybe we can,
14th or
But
the
the-
28th.
28.
what do you guys think?
Office. Right?
Yeah,
People
over
are-
the 2 weeks in the holidays, you're kind of
Yeah, on
gathering.
vacation.
I think we look at the 28th.
Would you be okay with that? We put the third reading on the 28th,
Sure,
give them time to respond if any comments.
but we need to approve the second reading.
Yeah, just want to know where we're heading. I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance amending time. Minimum requirements, COSECO residential lot checklist on the second reading.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I. Jeff, I.
Think about citizen comment. Anybody online? Close citizen comment. Anything else? Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Brian, I.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
And with